Hi, I'm Lisa McLeod, Member of Provincial Parliament for Nepean, and today is LMAC today. So here I am joined by a couple of my friends, some young women who I think are going to have their own podcast at some time in the very near future, and who I consider to be very bright, up-and-comers, and are very exciting in life. So I want to introduce you to Jahmelia,
hello,
to Kaie, and to Monai. And I've known them only a short period of time, but they do have that presence and are very interested in performing and bringing people new information. And it's their first time at Queen's Park.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and one of you said when we were talking that you first got interested in politics because you watched Scandal.
Yes.
Olivia Pope,
Yes.
the White Hats.
Yes.
Yeah, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that, Jahmelia?
The first time I watched Scandal, I think, was a few years. It's been out for a while, but a few years ago, I watched it and I didn't really know what it was about, but everyone was like, "Watch it, it's so good," you know. And seeing Kerry Washington and Olivia Pope play such like a fierce role, I was like, "Wow!" It was very encouraging seeing like a Black woman in that role, and that holds so much power and authority. And she, like, as Kaie said earlier, like really held her own, and that kind of made me get a little bit more interested in politics, and just seeing how the show was so relatable, because obviously they were talking about topics that we experience in our everyday lives. And I was like, wow, you know, like there might be something here. Like, let me get a little bit more into this. So I finished watching the show, and now I'm currently in school for social service work, and we do talk about a lot of, like, you know, worldly issues in my program right now, specifically in sociology. So, like, I don't have a vast knowledge in politics, but I'm very curious about it and I want to learn more. So I think that was kind of like my start of really dipping my toe into this. So yeah, I would say that was my first kind of experience, watching Olivia Pope.
Well, listen, it's always starts somewhere, right? And I think just to your point, and I want to follow up with you, Kaie, because you talk about being able to see someone who looks like you on TV and provides an experience. Now, this is your first time at Queen's Park.
Yes.
When you went into the chamber, did you feel that that your experience as a young Black woman was being represented in the chamber, or do you think that there's more to do?
I think there's always room for improvement, honestly, especially when it comes to like race. I feel like it's just going to be so difficult forever for us to feel like fully like present in those type of rooms. But that doesn't mean that we can't be. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be. So also, like, so I went to school for politics and government as well. So seeing lots of African Americans in my program opened my eyes as well, because I'm like, nobody really studies politics. Like, I haven't seen anybody like me really study politics. So like seeing that, and like the groups that, like, you know, the study groups that we all have, like they start to come together with races, obviously, but then you meet people that don't look like you and are still encouraging for you to learn, for you to study, to help you for things that you may not understand. And it also brings a different perspective in the room as well. Like, if we think about it, I'm not going to learn things or have the same environment around me as maybe you or someone else that looks like you or someone else that looks like me. So that was very encouraging as well. Honestly, back to her, I literally watch Scandal to this day. Okay,
Reruns.
My mom is the one that made me start watching Scandal. I was like, what's this? So that,
right?
Yeah, and I think it's good, the representation piece, and Monai. So I want to bring you into the conversation too, because again, first time at Queen's Park.
Yes, it is.
And do you ever feel like some of the things that happen in your day-to-day life, obviously healthcare, education, transit, all that stuff is dealt with here at Queen's Park? Have you ever felt that you were part of those conversations, or do you feel after being here, you know who's making those decisions, so it's more accessible?
I have never felt like I've been part of the conversations. I definitely have the conversations, but just like amongst my own like personal friends and my family and whatnot. Like, I talk about politics pretty often, honestly, because I would say that I do care and it affects us. So like you're inclined to care because it affects your daily life. But I've never been a part of any conversations with actual like political figures or decision makers or like anyone in any type of like legislator or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I do think today kind of, at least I'm in the building, I can see who's here. I can kind of have an idea of like how it goes. Because just like seeing different people speak, including you spoke so well. But seeing everybody else speak, I kind of have an idea of how it goes in the House of Parliament, which I had like no idea before coming here.
Yeah. So I'll throw this out to all of you because you want to put together your own podcast. Yeah. I've gotten to know you guys as performers, not the right way, but I think like you, the three of you bring a great energy. Yeah. And when you meet you, and I think you're very curious about life and about how people come together. Like you're very much people persons, and it's nice to see. So you want to bring this podcast together. Will you be talking about current events? Like what do you see in terms of taking your experience that you made here, your life experience where you live and work and play and learn, and putting it out there? And is there an element that you want to teach people as well, different things?
So for the podcast, what we've been discussing actually is like what the theme would be. We have decided that there's no like specific theme of the podcast because when it comes to living life, like things are thrown at you every day that are just different. And even like people within our lives, like things we experienced through other people's experiences, that's a lot of what we would be talking about. So in a way, it's kind of nicheless. So there's no specific category. We'll be talking about politics, most likely, yes. Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about personal experiences, 100%, and maybe even how both of those kind of intersect, especially being like women of color, our daily experiences in work, school, our environment, and so forth. Yeah. And what we really want is, well, I know at least for me, is for people to get an inside scope of like my life and how I view the world and how maybe the world views me, like, yeah, my perspective, different perspectives, and maybe some encouragement as well. Like, you know, we're all women who've been through our own experiences, and a lot of them at that. And I feel like there's a lot we have to offer through our experiences, our intellect, all of that. So I just feel that, you know, being a young Black woman in the city, there's a lot that we do have to offer because there's so much that we've been through that's unspoken about. Yeah. That I feel a lot of other women or just anybody really can learn from.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So I'll just sort of open it up to you, Monai, and of course, Kaie. What do you hope to achieve when you're speaking to your audience, even today? You know, what do you hope to achieve or bring a better understanding to? And yeah,
personally, I see it as like a therapy session, like for us as well as our audience. So like we'll come in like every week and discuss like what our week looked like and different things that we went through, maybe stuff that we wouldn't necessarily talk about all the time. So we can just talk through it with like just to talk through it on our own, and then to hear someone else's perspective that we also trust. And then I'm assuming our viewers will also be going through similar things or maybe have been through similar things, so they can be going through it with us at the same time. Yeah. So that's kind of my hope.
Good. I would just say transparency, honestly. I feel like all three of us bring something different to the table. Like, yeah, we all may like identify pretty similar, but I feel like we all have different experiences in our life. And if we're all transparent about whatever topic, maybe controversial or not, that we talk about, it's like we're going to bring a new lens. And that also may not be a lens that people agree with. Yeah. But it's a new lens. It's like looking through a camera. Like, you're only looking this way. I might not even agree with Jahmelia.
Yeah, that's
Jahmelia might not agree with me.
We might disagree.
We always disagree all the time. We don't even agree, and we're all friends. So like, it's just
that's
like
what the beauty
exactly
politics actually is.
Yeah. So you'll get to hear so many different perspectives just from the three of us.
Mm-hmm. So current events and how you think about them, and reaching out to your audience so that they know they have a voice. So you want to empower people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, listen, ladies, what are we going to call this, and when should we be able to see it?
You actually just said the name.
Oh my gosh.
The name of the podcast we came up with is "What Do We Call This?" Because in a way it is nicheless, and every episode, I guess you could call it, would be something different. Like it wouldn't be like one specific category. So what do we call this one?
Yeah.
Tequila and tacos.
Exactly. Or what do we call this one?
Yeah, sure.
Our first podcast with Lisa. Like, so that we just thought that would be a really fitting name because it's vast.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the podcast would be.
Well, that's good. Do you guys have any parting things to the audience today? They may not be the same type of audience that would watch what do you call this?
out.
See you soon.
Yes. Please, yes, support us. We would
If
really
you think
appreciate
you might not be interested, we're very multifaceted, so I think you will be interested.
Oh, you guys
Take a risk. Take a look.
When I first met you, what did I say? You needed to have a podcast.
Oh, yes.
That's actually
No, not
yeah.
that. Every single day.
Time she saw us.
Every single day for 7 days.
Yes.
Ladies,
She
let's
told
sit
us.
down.
We
At
need to sit
dinner.
down.
Yes.
At dinner. And we would talk about it every single day.
Yeah.
And here we are. We made it.
I know.
Well, I love giving young women, like my daughter and Victoria, a hand up and encourage them because it's a wild world out there, and you must know that you can stand up and do things. So listen, ladies, I look forward to watching your first podcast. I look forward to sharing it, and I certainly look forward to seeing you again. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Jahmelia, Kaie, and Monai, and I'm Lisa McLeod, and this was LMAC Today.